Okay, so I'm actually really excited to give this talk just because for a while people have been asking me the same thing, like what have I changed from one year to the next? And I think that I've finally been able to narrow it down to a couple of main things. I feel like if you fired everyone and started over like I had to and just implemented these couple of things that you would be able to see a dramatic change in your office. So I don't know about you guys, but whenever I'm listening to someone talk, I really can't take in as much if I'm like trying to scribble down a bunch of stuff and listen at the same time. So I would just encourage you guys to write the main keys that I go over and not try to write down everything that I say. That way when you look over it later, you'll be able to remember everything. So all of these things tie into each other, but the first main key is culture. So what kind of culture do you have in your office? If you're an applicant walking into your office, is it somewhere where you would feel welcome? Or would you walk in and say, man, this place looks like crap, I don't really think I want to work here. So how does the culture in your office support each other? Your people are influenced by what's going on around them, and they in turn do those things. So we have people in our fast start that are running phone jams because they see other people doing it and they just ask like, hey, I saw this person doing this, can I do it too? My first summer as a DM, my culture was terrible because I was a pushover and I let people walk all over me because I wanted to be their friend. But people come in for work and not for friendship because the friendship develops through trust and proper guidance to success. So if you help someone get great results, they trust you and they want to be your friend and respect you versus the DM who parties with their reps right out of training. So your mentality creates that culture. Working through others also is big as far as the culture in our office goes. So all of my AMs are the DM. I never tell anyone anything, but I have other AMs do what needs to be done as far as when it comes to saying things to people. Because when people hear the same thing over and over from different people, it's a lot more powerful than the big bad hairy manager telling them what to do all the time. So my three candidates know that on Mondays they post 3 last-minute tips for a big Monday. So Nick Matlack, I think you've seen this before, where they just post like today virtual demos or the importance of same day or whatever it is. Every Monday they just post 3 things on GroupMe. Each one posts a different one, so it's not them saying the same things, but they're just hearing it from so many different people. Thursday, which is when our team meeting is they'll post one reason why they're excited for team meeting. So one person would post, I'm really excited about my costume, or I'm really excited about this person speaking, or whatever it is. When anyone posts anything negative on GroupMe, we immediately handle it by me asking someone like, hey, can you post this? And all this starts off with key staff, and the culture in our office is that key staff is really, really cool. Like, it's a big deal to be on key staff, and you want to be on key staff ASAP. First weekend, first promo is normal. 3K your first weekend is what's really cool. So this ties into key staff, which I feel for me is the biggest thing that made the change for our office last year. So key staff, the purpose of key staff is just to create development and help in accomplishing all the weekly activities that can be done by the DM alone. So in the interview, we begin promoting it when we talk about perks and discuss advancement. We actually promote it more than the AM opportunity because it's the easiest, the first, and the quickest thing to get promoted to. So for our key staff, each week they attend 1 meeting. They have standards and expectations, so for the non-summer it's 1K a week or 4 orders, and in the non-summer it's 2K a week or 8 orders. And as part of our key staff, they have a chart that they fill out every day of the week. And on that chart, it's just different stuff like how many phone calls did they make for the day, how many demos did they get booked up for the day, how many field trainings did they do that day, did they attend a meeting that day. It's all stuff to hold them accountable. That way at the end of the week, if they're like, hey, I had a crappy week, well, let's look at your chart. Well, you made 5 phone calls for the whole week. That's why you had a bad week. And then also another big thing for our key staff is their main role is to also help get rising star people to phone jams. So even though our ANs have teams, our key staff doesn't have teams, but they're responsible for 1 person on Rising Star. And for that whole week, all they're focused on is getting that 1 person from Rising Star to all the phone jams that they're going to be at. And then also for key staff, I'm going to go over this a little bit later, but each week when I plan it based on what I need to have happen that week. So we used to run like 5 or 6 phone jams a week, but we needed 12. So for key staff, I taught them how to run a phone jam, and I said, cool, now that you know how to do it, pick a day you're running one this week. And that's how we got to 12 phone jams a week. So whatever it is that we need help on that week is what I teach them, and then I just have them do it that week. So next is mentality. So are you running it like a business, or are you taking advantage of the flexibility? So I think the best way to start is to make sure to be in the mentality of this is an actual job. A business, at a regular job, you show up 9 to 5 and do what you're supposed to do, so why would you treat this any differently? So my mentality when I run my office is that things are scheduled to happen and they need to happen. It's not a question of whether you feel like running it or not. You do it because it's your job to do it. And if you in particular don't want to do it, find someone to do it, but it needs to happen. So our schedule of activities is non-negotiable. We need 12 phone jams a week. It's going to happen. It doesn't matter who runs them, but it's going to happen. So there's a couple activities that we run that are so important that there are no buts about it. So I'm going to go through this list of activities. These are non-negotiables for our office. So the first one is PDI. If you don't PDI your team, you probably won't be here next year at kickoff. That's the truth. If you don't PDI your team, why are you even running an office? So I know a lot of managers hate doing PDI, but I think it's because people don't really know how to do it correctly, or they just feel awkward doing it because they're like, well, I don't know what to say to them. So every morning by 7 a.m., I send out the 5 things to promote, whether it's like a workshop, team meeting, closeout contest, conferences, anything like that. It's always 5 things, and I literally text out the entire conversation word for word to my entire staff that PDIs anybody, and all they do is call people and read exactly what I typed out. Because it's impossible to do everything yourself. Don't try it, but duplicate yourself and make as many people do what you would do as possible, because you're the best in your office anyway. So in the summer, it's going to be impossible for me to PDI like 100 people, but I can text out my AMs and let them know what to cover. And we usually role play in the morning a couple times too. We role play in staff meeting. But I feel like this way makes it a lot easier for me to duplicate myself through my staff, because I just tell them what to say. And over time, at this point, I don't need to text out the entire conversation. It's just the 5 main points, and they know how to PDI now. The next one is phone jams, 12 a week. Monday through Friday, we have breakfast club from 7 to 9 a.m. We have phone jams every evening, and then we have one on Saturday and one on Sunday. So I remember Lloyd talked about this at one of our conferences, and he clicked when he went over some math. So our focus is to have 3 people at each plus the one running it, so 4 people at each. If they only book 2 ahead, that's 8 demos per phone jam. That's 96 demos. That's about a base of 10K for the week. If you're not hitting 10K for the week, just run more phone jams. The breakfast club for us is for forced accountability. So everyone signs up during day 1 of training, which is also our team meeting. And for people who do online day 1, then they just sign up during AT1 or over PDI. So the expectation for breakfast club is key staff and AMs attend 2 a week, and reps that were under $1,000 for the week before attend 3 a week. And the reason for this is because if they attend 3 a week and they book up 3 at each, that's 9 demos booked, they'll complete 7, they'll sell on 4, 250, that's $1,000 for the week. So for us, if they're under 1,000 for the week, then we're not doing our job in helping them be successful. So our job is to coach them to success, and 1K a week is the minimum that a rep should ever do for the week, ever. So I post our roller reports on Facebook, and I talked to some of Wes's division about this, and I actually tagged Wes in some of our roller reports just to show that from our roller report, we'll have like 15 to 20 people on there, and there's usually like 3 or 4 that are not over 1,000. Just because that's the expectation. 1,000 a week is chump change. It's nothing. So there's no reason why they shouldn't get to 1,000. Tuesday night workshop and Saturday morning workshop, we run 2 a week. By the way, the days of these workshops matter to us because our team meeting is Thursday night. So we have something every other day so that our focus is getting them in at least 3 times in the evening to get them to do phone time also, whether that's a phone jam, a workshop, or whatever it is. Thursday night team meeting includes the training class, and they say through recognition until I feel like letting them go. So the point of this is so that they see their friends getting recognized for doing 3K a week, 4K a week, and now suddenly doing 1K over their first weekend is nothing. We go over commitment goals for the week. So if the goal is to do 20K on Sunday, which is when we have our staff meeting, we'll have it broken down and plan it based on the team. So if you only have like 8 people on your team, we break it down, and we never have anybody under a K, so we'll write on the board 2 at 4K, 2 at 3K, 2 at 2K, 2 at 1K. And at team meeting, we coach the top reps to make sure that they say their number first. So we try to knock out the people at 4K before we knock out the people at 1K. And this is also so the training class has something to see and sees that, oh, everybody's always shooting for 4K, 3K, 2K, 1K is like nothing. So it's just building those expectations. We add the training class to GroupMe on day 1 so that others can start asking them about their names list. So my focus when I run the office is for me to not run the office. I like to stay behind the scenes and have everybody else do it. I just tell them how to do it. So on a GroupMe on that day 1, we'll have a different rep each week or a couple different reps each week. Just text and be like, who's got the most names so far? How many are going to come in with tomorrow? It's just getting people excited about it. Oh, and then, like I said, I just ask people to say stuff, and they start picking up on stuff. So, like, I had a DMC post yesterday, because, like, I just did a service call with 16 leads. So my other DMC, before I even said anything, asked them, well, what did you upgrade to? So they're picking up on asking the right questions because I've been telling them what to say for so long. And it gets to the point where I don't have to do it, they just pick up on it, and our next layer of development, like key staff, starts picking up on it too. The next non-negotiable for me is PCs. I love PCs. I love one-on-one anything with people. So for me, Tuesdays are my PC day and Wednesday at the very latest. I don't really care when you run them, but for us, we have to PC them by Tuesday or Wednesday at the very latest, because this is how we get the entire week set up and how we reprimand people for the last week. So we use Drew's PC outline with some things added in, such as personal weekly goals for school, or personal stuff like working out 3 times a week or something like that. But we go over that so that they know that we're not just here to create CPO, but we're here to help them be financially stable and be able to enjoy a personal life at the same time. So I hold them accountable to stuff that they've told me that they want to do outside of the business. So if they're like, I want to work out 3 times a week, cool, let's put it in your schedule, when are you working out? And that way I have a list of, I have all the yellow copies of everything, so throughout the week I can just be like, hey, how was your workout today at 7? And if they're like, oh, well, I missed it, oh, well, when are you going to make it up? So just like I would talk to them about their sales stuff, I talk to them about their personal stuff too, and I feel like that's really helped with my relationships with my people also. I also PC myself. I think that's very important. I plan out my whole schedule and everything, but I also like to make sure I have my personal time in my schedule also. So some of you guys may know, but last summer I went to Six Flags every Saturday with my sales manager, which is 3 hours away, but it's awesome, and I loved it because we were able to spend time together, take PDI together, and still be able to have fun and run the office. This goes hand in hand with planning. So I've given some talks about how to plan the week, so I'm not really going to go over that because it's really long, but if you have any questions on the schedule, just ask me later. But the schedule is one of the most important parts in the business, just because if you don't have a plan to do something, you're not going to do it. So kind of like if you want to book PRs, you have to have a plan on how many people are going to be calling, what's your goal, all that kind of stuff. So if you don't have a plan for it, probably won't do very well. So Sunday in my schedule is my longest day because I plan the entire week this day before my staff meeting. So where our office is lacking is made up as the key staff topic. So like I mentioned, if you need helpers on campus or something, make that the key staff topic. And then we follow up right after our key staff meeting is at 6, our staff meeting is at 7. Depending on how I'm feeling, I'll invite key staff to it, but if I know I'm about to rip my staff a new one, I won't. But we plan the entire week down to who is second manning what interviews. We plan out every single thing of the week so that I don't have to worry about who's doing what. I can just open my schedule, and everybody's schedule is in my schedule. And then the first staff meeting of the month, or the last one of the month, we go over the following month workshops. So for my staff, if I have 8 possible workshops for the month and 8 people on my staff, everybody's going to run 1 for the month. So that way they can see like, hey, I'm really not doing that much. Even though the schedule looks like a lot, Melissa doesn't really have me doing much other than 1 workshop for the entire month, and then like a couple phone jams a week, and then interviews. I also color code my schedule. So I focus on having an even amount of recruiting, sales, and development per day, because that's what our business is. So when I plan stuff, I have 3 columns, and I start writing stuff under each one for the week, like who needs to get promoted under development, or how many do we need to get set for interviews this week in order to hit our launch goal under recruiting. So I just plan out everything, and for me it takes a really long time, but it's worth it. The next thing is just habits, making sure you have the right habits, like waking up early, going to sleep early. I'm a night owl. I like to do my stuff at night, but I have this weird thing where I can't sleep in either, so I work best at night for me. So just make sure that you're getting the right habits, that your development is learning from you. So I think that one of my DMCs, the reason why he has no problem waking up early and getting stuff done is because he lived on my couch for a couple months, and I woke him up every single day. And he saw me wake up and get stuff done. We used to go meditate every morning. And he just started getting in the right habits to where it's easier for that to trickle down to their people when they're doing U+2. And I think it just all starts with habits, making sure that you're doing the right things because they're just going to do what you do. And lastly is logic. Really think about the business. We run workshops Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Our phone jam is at 9 a.m. Our training portion of training is at 10 a.m., as well as the Rising Star meeting portion is at 10 a.m. The point of this is to have 3 groups of people phoning together. The people that are there for Rising Star, the people that are there for the workshop, and the people that are there for training. So how can you make the business run itself with all the programs in place without burning out yourself or your people? The end.